Hi and welcome to the second episode on automation here in Bitwig 6. We're going to look at the spray can, how we can spray the nodes, and also how we can randomize the node values and some more advanced features. Let's take the tour. Right, so next up we can look at this hold feature. So say that we select all the nodes of this first clip. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and press this hold option. You can see all the different nodes are converted into steps. And that's really good if you want to make step sequenced automation and have really hard steps between each node. Now is also a good time to take a look at the new spray feature for automation. So I'm just going to hide my face here briefly. If you look to the right corner, you can see all the tools, and there we have a new spray tool. You can also press 4 to select the spray tool. Now we can actually spray automation like this. And it's going to be set to our grid setting, but we can of course change the grid here, get into the track options, and change it to quarter notes. Now the spray is going to spray quarter notes. So that's one way to quickly enter different step sequenced automation. It's a lot quicker than just working with the node separately, because you can see I can click anywhere above these steps and they will change. So you can quickly change and edit your step automation. Right, so another good thing about this, let's change back to the arrow, press 1. And if we select the nodes here, if we want to convert it back to normal nodes, you can just deactivate this hold button. And they are converted back to normal nodes, which are connected. We can also just convert a few of them, so select a few of the nodes. So it's very flexible, as you can change this behavior between all these nodes. Okay, so say that you're also working with a Wacom tablet like I do here for drawing automation. They actually revamped the formula for converting what you draw into actual automation. Because previously, if you drew automation, it would be very jagged and really like reflect how you wiggle or how shaky your hand is. And I'm very shaky, so it usually looks like a pure mess. Say that we draw something like this. And I let go. You can see we get a quite smooth like curve conversion of what I actually drew there. So we don't get the millions of extra nodes. You can see from the beginning it looks like there's going to be a lot of nodes. But as soon as I release it, converts it to curves. And we get less nodes, which is better for performance. So that's a little bit about the drawing automation, which is also new. Right, so one thing to keep in mind when you're editing like this is that if you accidentally or by intention click outside the line, say that we make a double click outside the line like this, we're going to open this show automation editor at the bottom. And as you can see, it's the same as the piano roll hybrid editor. It's just that it's pre-selected, or it opens the automation editor, so you can change between these if you want. So like the same, if you press the MIDI clip, it's going to open in the piano roll. But we can also go to the automation mode there. And we can, of course, like usual, open a full page automation editor by holding Shift and Tab. Or just press the edit button here at the bottom of the page, of the arrangement page. Let's also add some automation for noise, just so we have plenty of parameters, or just a few parameters that's automated. Now one thing that's quite common, if you get a lot of parameters with automation and you want to add a last parameter, they often end up like in the end of the list, but we can always activate a button up here called toggle flying automation lane. And that means if we deactivate that and activate the toggle automation flying lane, And if I press a parameter here that we haven't automated yet, say that we're in the track at the top here, and we say the decay here for the ADSR, you can see it opens at the top here of the list. But the thing is, if we didn't have that active and press the decay here, nothing happens here. We need to open the automation to actually see that. So that's really good if you're in the normal view mode here. If you want to see the parameter at the top that you press, just activate this flying automation lane. Okay, so we actually have more in store for the automation. And it's a really cool new feature called spread, which will actually spread and randomize a node value of the automation. So take a look at this. If we go into the frequency automation again here and add some more nodes, and add just a few more nodes like this. If we select some of these nodes and look in the inspector panel, we have a new parameter called spread. Look what happens when I increase this value. Wow. We get effectively randomization for each individual node, and you can see the amount, positive and negative, above or below that automation node. Of course, we can change this also individually. So just select a few of these, maybe decrease the randomization, and for this one, maybe have a really drastic randomization. So it's also a good way if you want to have more organic and more alive automation. Sometimes maybe you want that if you're making more generative and more organic flowing sounds. Right, so you can see there for each iteration it returns and replaces this clip. The randomization gets re-rolled. The dice is rolled again, so to speak. So you get a new value for each of these randomized value every time, and each and every time this same automation clip replays. So again, it might be really useful if you want to really add a more granular and more random automation. Right, so we're also going to look at another flexible setting here for controlling how the automation follows the MIDI data, or how the automation clips follows the MIDI clips for a track. So we go back to this polymer synth track. So if you look just below this Bitwig icon at the top of the screen, we have this toggle global automation behavior, and it's automatically, or a default behavior is follow. That means that the automation lanes or the automation clips always follow when we move a clip. So I'm just going to move this to the side and say that we move this MIDI clip. You can see that all the automation will also follow along. But if we deactivate that, you can see we can move the MIDI clip separately from the automation lanes, and also the automation lanes separately from the MIDI clip. But again, the default behavior is follow, that the automation will follow along when you move the MIDI clips. Now we can also set this per lane. So if we select the cutoff frequency automation lane here and look in the inspector panel, we have this cutoff frequency and polymer low pass Moog filter. When parent is edited, it's default, use editor settings, but we can change this to always follow. And that means that no matter how we change this setting here, the automation will always follow along with the MIDI. We can actually try that. So we're going to set it to always follow. You can see this little icon here, always follow. And we're going to deactivate. So automation shouldn't follow the MIDI. But now when we move the MIDI, that track will follow along. But you can see this other automation track, spread, is still in place. So we're going to undo that, and we can of course also set the lane behavior to never follow. So now it's never going to follow. You can see also this little lock icon. So no matter how we set this the automation will always be locked in place. You can see there's also a fourth option, arrange a lock, protect this lane on the arranger, launcher, trust global settings. So you can see you have a few different, even more flexible options here to control how the behavior should be for the automation compared to your MIDI clips, the automation clips compared to the MIDI clips. Okay, so that's all for today on the new Automation 2.0 feature in Bitwig Studio 6. If you have any type of questions or comments, leave them in the comments or in the More New Media Education platform chat. Okay, thanks for watching today. I'm Mattias from More New Media Education. See you in the next episode. Bye.